Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis, and welcome to another week of Living the Wiccan Life. This week we continue our coverage of Halloween in Salem with roving reporter Ed the Pagan.
Hi, here with Ed the Pagan with Living the Wiccan Life. Your normal host, Don, is still in Rossville working his way through all the stuff that he has to work through. And this week I got a chance to come out to Salem during Halloween week. Everybody talks about the craziness of it, and I wanted to see it for myself. I'm going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how crazy it can be. We're going to take you to some of the best parties around, the best stays around here. We're going to meet some of the great people. We're going to do some interviews, and we're going to show you how you live the Wiccan life in Salem. Here we go, heading towards the annual Psychic Fair. This is where Christian Day, probably one of the best organizers in Salem, is working out of. And we're going in. Morning.
Good morning.
Or afternoon.
Afternoon, whatever. It's good morning to me.
This is at the Festival of the Dead Witchcraft Expo. This is an altar to Sean Poirier, 1966-2007.
My name is Terry Milton, and they call me the Stone Lady.
Well, you see, you got these beautiful stones right here in front, and we're here again in Salem. Can you, let's start with this. Can you tell how you became the Stone Lady?
Around 1980, I became drawn to the stones, and I was picking them up from everywhere, buying them everywhere. When people were going on vacation, I would ask them to bring me back a stone, and I would meditate on it, and I would really get to know the stone. As people came over to my apartment, they would see stones everywhere. Somebody would pick a stone. As soon as they did, I would start talking about it. And they would look at me and they'd say, "How did you know that? Nobody knows that about me." So I gradually began to see the similarities between Mother Nature and human nature. I became the Stone Lady as more and more people started coming to me for stone readings.
Now you started this back, you started reading in 1976?
1976, I started taking psychic classes, palmistry, sense awareness, the tarot, numerology, and I enjoyed them all, but there was something missing. In 1980, when I became involved with the stones and eventually began doing stone readings, I found what was missing. The stones talked to me in a way that the other tools didn't.
Wow. And now you're reading for the public. I say you're out here at the Psychic Fair.
At the Psychic Fair, yep.
And how long have you been reading for people? Professionally versus just doing it for them?
Okay, off and on since about 1980. Probably pretty intensely for the last 20 years.
Now are you a Salem resident?
I live in Gloucester, which is about 20 miles north of here.
Okay. So this area, have you seen a lot of growth in this area? I mean, I keep hearing about a lot of growth in this area. Have more interest in it. Have you found people more interested in what you do?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your stones. People are fascinated. Understand that people we film for have never really crossed a lot of this. A lot of people are hearing this for the first time.
Oh, okay. Well, what I would do in a reading is I would have a person pick some stones with their eyes open, some with their eyes closed, and I would also answer questions at the end of the reading with myself closing my eyes and feeling a stone. Each stone is different. This is a stone that is one of my favorites. It's called rhodochrosite, and the books would call it unconditional love. What I would call it is the stone of a survivor, because it's formed in caves where it forms drip by drip by drip over long periods of time. This would have taken about 200 years of slow, steady growth to grow. It's shaped like an egg, so if a person picked this in a reading, I would say that they're a survivor, but they also have a very nurturing quality and something is ready to kind of hatch.
And I see the black and white one there. It's got like a stripe on it.
This one?
Yeah, it looks almost like a billiard ball there.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yes.
This is one of the agates. It's specifically an eye agate. I consider the agates to be stranger in a strange land. The lore and legend of stones said most stones would tumble and they'd pack on layers of dirt and grow outwardly. But the agate was one size and it was filled with water, and the water would slowly solidify. So an agate would represent slow, steady growth. This particular stone, one of the things that it would say about you is that because of it was one you were drawn to, is that you're very well-rounded. You like to roll with the punches. You're very, very psychic, very sensitive, almost to the point of being empathetic with others. You feel what's going on with them. So it might be difficult for you to go into a room without feeling somebody's sadness or somebody else's headache. You kind of absorb it.
If somebody wanted to contact you, or during the rest of the year, other than Halloween, you'd be here at the Psychic Fair. How would they get a hold contact you?
Well, I'll give you one of my cards.
Terrific.
You can either call me or send me an email. I live in Gloucester. I do telephone readings. I do email readings, and I will type readings and mail them to people. Snail mail readings.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Rick Watson.
And you are one of the local...
I am a local Salem witch.
Okay, you are a Salem witch. There's been a lot of controversy on it. When you say Salem witch, what do you mean by that?
Well, I began Wicca 21 years ago, and I call myself a witch now because I embrace the goddess and the god.
There's always been, I've been learning that there's been people who, a difference between a Salem witch and like other witches. You see the
Traditions.
traditions?
Yeah, traditions seem to only be the only difference. We all still have the same goal.
Well, I noticed that you've taken care. You're at the the annual Psychic Fair and Witchcraft Expo.
Yep.
And you're taking care of the booth.
Yep, for Bewitched in Salem.
But normally you're also a psychic.
Yes, and I read.
And what do you do?
I read tarot cards and crystal ball.
Okay. Well, how do you read a crystal ball? You're the only person I've met in Salem so far that does a crystal ball.
A lot of studying.
Because a lot of the people we're talking that are on my audience are new to witchcraft, or new to Wicca, and they hear about reading crystal balls.
Well, I began reading crystal ball beginning with a black scrying mirror or magic mirror, and I scryed into that 10 minutes a day, and then after about a month I scryed for about 20 minutes and a day, and then I started seeing psychic images. So I began to read a crystal ball and learned that there are actually 3 stages into a crystal ball. A protection layer, where you're at, and the middle of the crystal ball is the soul, and that's the soul of the person. So if you're sitting in front of me and having a crystal ball reading, it's your soul that I'm reading through that crystal ball.
So a looking glass for the soul.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Now, you're as a Salem witch, I know October's really crazy.
Yeah,
And do you look forward to October?
absolutely.
Now, what's it like to live in Salem lately?
All year long. Salem's a quite a quaint little town. All year long, up until about September, and then October, of course, it's Halloween City. As a witch, I don't mind it at all because living in Salem, a lot of the locals have businesses here, and we have to rely on the tourists to actually make it through the season. It's a very quaint, very small city, off-season.
Okay, and then you do have a tourist season from starting about May?
Yeah, in spring, they begin with the going up to Pioneer Village and, coming to see the Witch Museum and the Witch Memorial. I actually was there when they built the Witch Memorial.
That must have been pretty impressive.
It was impressive. It was. I feel that they could have actually done a better job, memorial-wise, but for what they did do, it looks good.
Now, what do you think about the Bewitched statue, the Elizabeth Montgomery?
I love the Bewitched statue.
Okay.
I actually wrote to the Salem News about the Bewitched statue, about the controversy. And the way I see it is back in the 70s when Elizabeth Montgomery and the show came to Salem, Salem didn't have any problem with taking their money then for, filming in Salem. And there was no controversy that we had a TV witch here in Salem. Everybody wanted to meet her, and almost everybody did. And I can remember that all the way back to 1974 or 5 when they filmed it. And I was just a little kid, but I was still all in awe because there was, you know, the famous witch on TV. And she did wiggle her nose when she wanted to. However, when the statue came into play, the controversy of the statue of you could actually see Gallows Hill from where the statue is right now. I don't believe it's anything out of order, because in the episode in which she does come to Salem, she looks down the street and it's like the witch house is exactly next to the Hawthorne Hotel, which it is not. So I feel that they put the statue in a very good place.
Now, one of the things I've noticed is you have this impeccable fashion sense.
Yeah.
Of all the people I've seen, see a lot of things, a lot of people, but you dress very, let me say it, pagan.
Yes.
But you don't dress out of sorts.
No.
I mean, boy, you could do, you could do a pagan eye for the straight guys, for the straight people here. Now, do you think that, I've noticed that. I guess my question is that, do you think that you can dress? You obviously.
I believe if you're a witch, pagan, Wicca, all of it evolves into one thing. A witch is a witch is a witch. But I don't feel that, I don't see why people can't take pride, in being yourself and wearing what you want to wear and postmodernize. It doesn't take away from anybody being less or more of a witch by the way they dress. I just happen to like to dress nice.
And you dress very well.
Thank you.
Retailing. Let me ask you a question on retailing.
Yeah.
You do quite a bit of it. And you have an experience with it. Lots of people keep talking to us about coming to Salem and they want to move to Salem and they got this idea of doing shops here. This is a very competitive environment, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And you just can't come in here and open up a shop.
Well, I mean, anybody can come into town and open up a shop. If you're talking witch shops,
yes.
It's extremely hard. As I said, the winter months, off season is very slow for all of us. So we're very lucky to have the local witches here in Salem frequenting each store for certain things to keep us alive, basically. One hand washes the other. There is bartering every now and then. But in the interim, what it really comes down to is opening a shop here in Salem. The only thing I have a problem with is people that come in for the month of October, open up, let's say, a Halloween costume shop for 1 month and take away from the merchants that are here all year long.
I can understand that. Now, people have said, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I've heard people say that Salem can be cliquish. They're cliquish, For somebody coming in and wanting to learn about Salem, how would they avoid, getting caught between that sort of cliquishness?
Well, I totally believe that there shouldn't have to be any kind of cliques, that everybody should get along. So for myself, I actually try to form my own opinions on what I actually know.
Thank you. Any last things you want to tell to the young witch, the young witch visiting Salem who's getting into this?
Young witches visiting Salem, just make sure you read a lot. And
of course,
Salem's the city of peace, so.
And of course, go to the witch shop.
Of course, go to Bewitched in Salem.
Do they have a website or anything? Or?
Yep, we have a website. Yeah, www.bewitchedinsalem.com.
Terrific. And if they go there, they can find you.
Yes, you can find me there.
And get a reading from you.
And absolutely get a reading from me.
Terrific. Well, thank you.
Okay. Have a great day.
What?
And my MySpace address is $$, Rick, $$. Thank you.
I hope that you enjoyed part 1 of this episode and that you will join us again for part 2.